Welcome to baseball season, everybody! The day at the ballpark is always a special one, but you just have to figure out the right time to go. The good news is the resale market makes it happen no matter the occasion, and for me the only option is SeatGeek, the sponsor of this video. Whenever I want to go see the majesty of PNC Park, all I do is open up the app and scour every ticket available for the taking to find the best value. Their tools are translatable to the Major League level, sorting tickets from red to green on a 1 to 10 scale, a view from where you'll be sitting, tickets for every event verified for authenticity. There's only one thing that makes this better, and that's using the code TREE to save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek is an upper crust app that only offers the best of the sporting world. Unlike a certain team in Chicago. I'm gonna save you at least a minute of me rambling as an intro. The White Sox are terrible. Good God! I have never seen a team suddenly forget how to play the fucking game of baseball. An absolute abomination in every facet of the franchise. From the terrible player development to the poor scouting to the lackadaisical management to the shattered hopes and dreams of what was supposed to be a new era. The only revolution happening is how abysmal things have truly become. You thought last year for Southside was bad? 2024 is setting records for it. Give me the scalpel. We need to hack this team to death and salvage whatever organs we can for the black market. It wasn't always like this. Think back to COVID year. I know no one wants to, but this team was a few years removed from a deep tank. Prospects starting to emerge through the ranks, a young and hungry team with ambitions of something greater. The winning was beginning again. If only you could stop time there. Just end the story and move on. We wouldn't have the sour taste in our mouths. What has this franchise even been good for? No one remembers 2005. It's the John Tyler of World Series championships. It somehow happened and is routinely forgotten unless looked up on Baseball Reference. That is the White Sox as a whole. We wish they were forgotten, but keep popping up like herpes. And like herpes, Southside's baseball team is unwanted, bothersome, and an embarrassing subject to talk about. At least the disease can be managed. The Sox cannot. I would gladly challenge this franchise to a duel. Their rules and stipulations do not matter. Risky, absolutely not. Everyone knows they can't hit anything. To see them attempt to fling a bat at a baseball is as fruitless as teaching a fly English. The only result is failure. Whiffing, soft contact, terrible approaches, the whole 9 yards. They can't score runs if their lives depended on it. There are men's league teams that hit better than they do. A random smattering of average Joes on the street might stand a chance at being the same. Hitting under 220 with an OPS just over 600 as a team? When your best batter on the year is 36-year-old Tommy Pham? Guy who wasn't even on the damn team in spring training? What the hell are you doing? Your answer to the void at catcher is Martin Maldonado? Did you see how rough he looked at the end of last year? Is it supposed to be surprising that he isn't hitting? He isn't even good defensively anymore. The pitching staff went from incredible promise to the best rotation arms being Eric Fetty and Garrett Crochet. A signing from Korea and a bullpen convert. The rest of it are failed prospects, random veterans, and fringe players. Team leadership has been hyping this team up as one that thrives on defense and pitching. You mean the one with the worst FIP in baseball? The one serving chocolate chip cookies the most on a given day? As mentioned before, they also can't hit. So what do you get? A team that might end up losing to a few AAA squads. So you may be asking where all the talent is. They had great players in their system. Remember all the names from 2021 and wonder where they went off to. Well, they got hurt or fucked off. Most anyone with talent did. Yohan Moncada is always hurt. Eloy Jimenez is always hurt. Luis Roberts hurt yet again. Michael Kopech feels like he's injured all the time, yet is somehow less injured than the previous 3. Jose Abreu's gone, yet that somehow might be for the best. Tim Anderson's production turned into him against Jose Ramirez. Punched in the mouth. Andrew Vaughn hasn't panned out. Lucas Giolito, bye. Dylan Cease, that beautiful mustache is in San Diego. Grandal fell to shit. Liam Hendricks undone by cancer and Tommy John. And the list keeps going. The potential core was never stabilized properly. And the blame falls on one man alone. Meet Jerry Reinsdorf. He's grown content in his old age. He already has his championships. Lucking into a generational basketball talent and a miracle run of miracle runs. I can't figure out what's the reason. It's either malaise or fancying the idea that he can do it again without change. It's a problem with both the Bulls and the Sox. A desire for comfort over results. A place where it's about how well you get along with the owner. The equivalent of a mom and pop shop. Double standards ahoy. The secret is that the Sox have never been serious about winning, and the proof is in their spendings in the free agent market. Have you ever noticed that they talk a big game yet always seem to come up with second and third options for free agents? It's been like this for years. Most other teams will have big signings and extensions to announce to their fans, foolish or not. This is not a luxury of Southside. What they get are some items picked up at a flea market. Snooty brother to the north gets elite pitchers. You get Mike Clevenger. The only seismic movement he has is off the field. Northside extends the likes of Cody Bellinger to rich sums after revival seasons. What is the largest splurge the Sox get? Andrew Benintendi? Ken Williams was apparently dead set on him too. Turn him back into a dead player for them. Lovely days. It gets even lovelier when you realize something. This franchise has never signed anyone to a 9-figure contract. One of only 2 to never eclipse this mark. Pittsburgh has spent 9 figures on a player. The Pirates! This is an unserious organization from their lack of spending on every single aspect of the team to players falling asleep in the fucking bullpen. You expect coaching to correct this? What are you, logical? You can't even find the damn first base coach as he's probably taking a shit. Reinsdorf probably uses the same logic in hiring personnel. Rick Renteria was a decent manager but wasn't going to take the White Sox to the next level. Firing him in 2020 was the right move. To replace him with the novelty nostalgia act in Tony La Russa? A hire instantly panned by anyone with a modicum of understanding the game of baseball? Bringing in a manager who's nearly 80 and hasn't managed a team in a decade, truly the mark of a genius. Unsurprisingly, it did not work out. Results were one flame out in the postseason to a Houston machine and a shit show of a year in 2022. Tony wasn't as overmatched and stodgy as we were all thinking him to be, but was he any good? If we're calling intentional walks in the middle of at-bats good, maybe. A shocking discovery, a man nearing his 80s in a high-stress position doesn't tend to mesh well for health. He had to pull out before the end of his second season, but he shouldn't have been there to begin with. So explain this to me. How do you go from what was possibly the worst managerial hire in an age to someone that's even worse? You want an up-and-coming manager but don't want to spend any money. The answer is apparently Pedro Grifo, a bench coach for the Royals under Mike Matheny. Is this a joke? But he won a World Series, jury might say. He was the fucking catching instructor. The dude is completely overmatched in this role. I can't tell if this is simply the Peter principle in action or he's just trying to get himself fired. With the locker room seemingly in complete disarray, calling out his bullshit and absolute lack of motivation everywhere you look, and the talent being shipped off for prospects that will probably be ruined? Ken Williams and Rick Hahn were here for this long for what reason? The ability to drink scotch and smoke cigars with Tony and Jerry? These dudes should have been canned 6 years earlier than they did, yet were allowed to run a rebuild into the ground. Talk to you after the parade, Rick? What parade? One featuring your severed head on a pike? Oh no, Kenny Williams isn't in a good place. What a sad feeling. It took Reinsdorf literal ages to can both of them, and he still had to be pried away at the very end. So how do you fix an organization that's fallen into complete disarray? By not interviewing anyone outside the organization. Chris Getz is a loyal soldier who deserves to be promoted because... continuity? I guess? Seriously though, why? Honestly, Reinsdorf's afraid. He's fearful of stepping away from his comfort zone, and his desire to not be challenged will keep forcing his franchises to fail. Jerry speaks of the fact that listening to the fans will have you sitting next to them. Buddy, the average fan could run this team better than you do. No one in their right mind would hire Tony La Russa in the 2020s. Under his leadership, it's become a shitpile for both them and the Bulls. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody cares. Nobody's being held accountable. Simply collecting a paycheck going through the motions. The most hilarious part to me was that Getz said that this team was going to be competitive before the year. I know all about that word as a Pirates fan. When they say competitive, they mean lifeless dog shit. They mean 100 lost seasons. No reason to watch this franchise. There's nothing here. This is Colorado Rockies levels of death. I can't even say this is the nadir since they'll dig even lower than this. Chris Getz even said so himself. 2023 was supposed to be rock bottom. Compared to this, that year was a boom. You're shocked nobody's showing up to the ballpark? Why the hell would anyone pay money to see this? Team's awful and the atmosphere of fake Comiskey is as bleak as the product. Perhaps the stadium organ can take it, bats. It might make a better sound than the dying cat that's in it. Hurry down or else they'll cancel Sox Fest again because they're spineless cowards. Or sell the team and relocate. That sounds like the final fuck you Reinsdorf will give this franchise, and it might be for the best. The White Sox are hell, strangling all the joy and hope the game of baseball brings. Introducing your kid to this franchise is child abuse. If you hate your son, you make him a White Sox fan. You're telling him he's inferior in every way and there will be no good in his life. No matter what he does, he will be held back by apathetic people above him. It's one thing to blatantly tank for a brighter future. It's another entirely to completely botch it to the point where you have to do it again. And what makes us think that it'll work this time? With Reinsdorf at the helm? For all we know, the Sox will be getting yet another iteration of Garpax. Instead of comparing Griefel to Jim Boylan, they'll actually hire the real one to manage the team. I forgot to mention, even though Southside has the worst record by a country mile, they can't pick higher than 10th in 2025 due to draft lottery rules. These fuckers can't even tank right! It's like this is one long episode of Impractical Jokers without any of the likable characters. Wake me up in 2038. I'm expecting another angry rant on Chicago sports radio.
That takes a lot out of you.
Altuve hammers one to left. That might be the exclamation point of the series. First home run of the set for Altuve. That one felt a little deeper.